Hi, I'm Camille Cisneros, the Pregnant on Campus Coordinator with Students for Life. Welcome to the Title IX webinar. Today we will be interviewing a couple of students we've walked with in the past. We also have exciting ways for you to get involved because not only does Title IX help mothers and save lives, but we have resources so you know exactly what to do if a pregnant or parenting student's Title IX rights are being violated and what that means. We'll start with Jess, where you'll see how important it was for our students to be active. The simple act of hanging Title IX flyers helped her out. Ruth's story is similar, but she found less support. I'll share those flyers and even more with you after Ruth's story, but let's dive in. The Pregnant on Campus initiative exists to support pregnant and parenting students on campus. Our goal is to reduce abortion rates among students by promoting life-affirming resources and by working toward policy changes on campus to create a more supportive environment for pregnant and parenting students. High school and college campuses are targeted by the abortion industry, and many campuses have failed to foster a life-affirming environment, as well as provide the necessary resources for pregnant and parenting students. Too often, young women feel forced to choose between continuing their education or dropping out to raise their child. It's up to you, high school and college students across the country, to reach out to these women with compassion and support in order to transform our campuses into life-affirming communities. Almost 3.8 million women will have a child each year, and 1 in 5 college students are parents. These women should have our support. The issue begins when pregnant and parenting students are not given the support that's required to them by the law and decent human beings. Title IX was enacted in 1972 to protect women from sex discrimination and has been applied to ensure that any school, high school or college that receives federal funding cannot discriminate against students who are pregnant or parenting. Title IX states that no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. This means that all schools must give pregnant and parenting students the same access to school programs and educational opportunities that are available to other students. It also means that athletic directors, coaches, and academic advisors cannot bully students into abortion by threatening the loss of any opportunities a student may have, like a scholarship or financial aid. Pregnant students should not be prevented from using campus housing or from participating in activities like club memberships, academic programs, or intramural activities. If a pregnant student has to miss class due to a medical necessity, she cannot be punished. Title IX has also been applied strategically to help student athletes who cannot be discriminated against in the event of their pregnancy. They can actually take a redshirt season, which is a season when the athlete is still on the team and on the roster, but they do not compete for medical reasons. And thanks to Title IX, these students must be offered reinstatement to the same position after pregnancy as they held before. As you can see, I could go on and on about the law and how we should be helping pregnant and parenting students succeed, but all of that is in our Pregnant on Campus Bill of Rights, which you'll find on the Pregnant on Campus website. But I want you to hear from a couple of awesome women who actually experienced some of these things on campus. So we're going to start with Jessica. Jessica, can you share some of your story with us?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Jessica Riojas. Right now, I go to Fresno State. I'm in the master's program for speech pathology. I was pregnant with my daughter Eden in 2017 in January. At that time, I started to feel symptoms. I went to a Planned Parenthood and with her father, and they told me I was pregnant. I was initially shocked, scared, just normal feelings. And I was not given other resources rather than abortion as my only option, just for the fact of my age, the fact that we weren't married, our financial situation. At this time, we were me and her father were both living with just kind of like in a fraternity house, like different housing. So we weren't in the most stable condition for a parent, so they say. And so initially that was what we were going to do, get an abortion. And after, so the clinic there was giving us the support of giving an abortion. We did not tell our family at this time just because we were just so skeptical on what to do. But throughout just talking to each other and talking to friends and everything, and then telling our family, we decided to keep our daughter, which we were so happy for. Then I was in college at the time. I was doing my undergrad at Fresno State, and I wasn't sure. I was feeling really sick when going to campus. I feel like it was affecting my health. Just having to wake up super early classes and going super late. So I ultimately felt that it would be better for me to maybe take a semester off. At this time, I was at a different clinic or a different medical facility for my appointments as my doctor, my primary doctor. And they were giving me a lot of support to go back to school and to continue with school. Every single doctor appointment I had, my doctor, he would always ask about school, and I would tell him I'm taking a semester off, but he would always just quiz me about like certain stuff that are still in my field and stuff like that. My friends supported me as well. My parents and everything. So when I took a semester off, and then at this time, I didn't know my rights though. I didn't know any rights on, am I going to be disqualified from going back to state? I just had so much going on in my situation. So I Googled on Google, rights of parenting student at Fresno State. I didn't really find anything concrete. Everything was kind of a little abstract and everywhere. So I didn't know. So I went back to campus. I was able to register for classes the next semester, and I was like, okay, I need to get on this. I contacted an academics counselor, and he told me I have rights and I'm able to come back to campus. I'll be fine, and just to meet up with him. So when I met up with him, he didn't let me know my exact rights. He just let me know that I'll be able to go back to class, but that was amazing. And going back to class that next semester, I looked at my report card, and all for my 18 units I was taking the semester prior, I had all Fs. So that was a shock to me because I went from being a 3.8 GPA to a 3.2, which is pretty severe when you want to go to grad school. So I contacted my academic supervisor, and he let me know that I may be eligible for an academic withdrawal. And so he directed me where to go. I went to Fresno State, and they told me I just had to fill out some paperwork, and I met with my academic supervisor. He informed me on getting some documentation from my doctor, and about the fact that I dropped out because I was pregnant is a legitimate reason. You are going through sickness in your body, and Fresno State agreed, and they withdrew all my Fs from that semester, and my GPA went from a 3.2 to a 3.8. And when I was ultimately eligible, I wasn't penalized for those Fs. So I was accepted into grad school, and I thought it was great because I earned it, and that semester shouldn't penalize me for my application because that was not my, I don't think that was my fault. And throughout the process, when I went back to school when I was 7 months pregnant, my professor supported me all the way. They would always ask me about my doctor's appointments, especially at that far along. I was having doctor's appointments every week. They would inform me I would have extra test time. They even told me initially that anytime I had to use the restroom, I'm free to go. I don't have to ask or anything, because that was a big thing too. I embedded in the syllabus in one of my classes was even that I was able to bring my child to class on non-testing days and breastfeed if I need to, because I breastfed for a year, so that was a huge help with that, for that bonding experience. I still keep up with my professors today, but regards of other rights I had, such as, am I able to take breastfeeding breaks during other classes? Am I able to, and I saw a sign on one of my hallways that had something about Title IX. it was from our Students for Life group at Fresno State. At this time, I wasn't affiliated. So I was so glad to take a picture of the sign, get involved with the group on Facebook, and just get way more embedded in my rights. And now I know a lot more, and it's so much better to have a concrete knowledge on what parenting students are able to have, and just, just some kind of wisdom to share with other parenting students that are in that situation. So yeah, overall, I had a very positive experience on just knowing my rights with my academic supervisor, with my doctor being so supportive, my teachers just letting me know that I'm supported with them, and I'm not looked any different just because I'm a parent student or even a pregnant student, that we are all equal and they understand. I think that was the best thing. And then, yeah, I just had a lot of support with my school and with my group now. Now I'm a great story to tell for other parenting students that what is able to happen. And yeah, so I feel really lucky that I've been in the pro-life movement, and I'm able to understand the different rights we have as parenting students and pregnant students.
And you were sharing, how old is your daughter now?
My daughter is 2 years old now. She is running around everywhere. She's just an amazing. Her name is Eden.
Eden. Oh. Well, thank you for sharing your story, Jessica. And I think this is a great example to you students as to why it's so important to be sharing this information on campus, whether that means you're writing a letter to the editor of your school newspaper and saying, this is what your rights are, this is what's available on campus, and we're the pro-life group on campus who are here to help. To flyer on campus, like sharing those flyers. If you have social media with your pro-life group, which you should, everybody should have an Instagram for their pro-life group, you can share graphics, Instagram graphics, which we will have for you. So these are all really, really important things that you should be continually sharing on your campus so that students like Jess and Ruth can see them and know their rights. So we want to hear from Ruth now. Ruth is also a student and a parent, and let's hear your experience as a student on campus.
Goodness. So, hi, my name is Ruth Asmerzada. My son is 3 now, so it's been a long time, so bear with me as I try to remember. Oh goodness. So, I've always been a pretty good academic student, like A's, B's throughout high school. I actually started college early. I started at my senior year of high school. So I was looking to graduate early, do all that, and then I hit a rough patch. And then I found that I was pregnant. And it's like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? Because I wasn't in a good spot mentally. I wasn't in a good spot financially or anything. I was working and going to school at the same time. And it's just, I was freaking out because my parents are very religious, very conservative. And I'm thinking, if I tell my parents, they're going to kick me out of my house and I'm going to have to drop out of school. I'm going to be homeless and I can't do that. And so I panicked, and basically I called the father because he and I, we weren't talking anymore. I got pregnant in February, didn't figure it out until April because I couldn't eat or keep anything down. So I figured it was time to take a pregnancy test, and it came back positive. And I just remember crying because I didn't know what to do. So I called the father after I confirmed with the doctor that I was in fact pregnant. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep it or something? And I was like, well, no, I think I'm going to get an abortion. And he's like, yeah, I think that's the best idea to do. Do you want me to drive you? Stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, like whatever, I'll figure it out. I'll pay for it myself. And so I scheduled the abortion. I dealt with the insurance, all of that, made sure that everything was taken care of. And then all I needed was a ride to and from, because I can't drive after an abortion procedure was it. And so I remember I was at my church and I was babysitting these kids because they were doing like an adult group. And so I was babysitting, and my friend Kayla I think she had just come back from some mission work in California, and I asked her, hey, can you drive me to Denver? I have a doctor appointment for a stomach bug. And it all just kind of unraveled how I wanted her to drive me to my abortion. And she told me, no, you can't do that because I know that you're doing it quickly because you don't want to think about it. And she was right. And so I went through a lot of counseling, a lot of talking, did all that, and then finally decided I have to tell my parents and then we'll figure it out from there. So I went to my parents and I just came out real fast and told them. And my mom, I was really surprised because they're very accepting and I don't know what I'm going to do with this baby. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I don't know if I'm going to get an abortion. And I told my parents that, and it just kind of breaks my heart still to this day. And my mom told me, well, think about it, pray about it. So I did. As for on campus, though, I was panicking. My grades were going down because I was stressed. I didn't know what to do. And so I'm going through my classes, doing all of that. And then finally, I decide I'm going to keep this baby because it's just, I did a lot of research on all my options. I did research on what adoption would look like and then what an abortion would look like and keeping the baby would look like. And all of them, I found that each of them have consequences. And then it all boiled down to which one I could live with the most. And I'm like, I have to keep him. I have to keep this baby. So I did. And then I had him the week before finals week. So it was very difficult because I didn't realize that I had, I figured it was just, I go to class. If I miss class, then I just have to scramble and figure things out on campus, like no big deal. I didn't realize that my teachers had to be working with me and helping me and talking me through the process and explaining my rights and explaining my options. And I thought I was just completely alone on campus. So I had my son and it was amazing. It was great, but I was by myself. So I did not sleep for 4 days. The first 4 days after I had my son, I did not sleep for 4 days straight. It was exhausting and tiring. And so the next week, there was no way that I could go back to school postpartum in pain and all of this. I couldn't go back to school. And so I couldn't take my finals. And then obviously I got Fs in those classes. And then I come back to figure out my next semester, figure out my grades because I know that education is very important and I want to do that. So I came back next semester trying to reapply for classes and they're like, oh, well, you can't because your account is on hold or on restriction, I think, and I also lost my financial aid. So in order for me to get it back, I had to appeal. So I appealed and I provided evidence that I did in fact have a child, and that's what prevented me from coming to my classes and passing my classes, and they denied it. So I was not allowed my financial aid or anything like that. And all I can remember was my friend Kayla, the one who talked me out of getting the abortion. She had given me a phone number a few months back and explained that this woman, Bethany Jansen, she helps pregnant students. And so I called her. I'm like, I don't know what this lady does, but I'm going to call her and I'm going to ask her what she can do to help. So I did. And she's like, well, did anyone ever explain to you your Title IX rights? I'm like, well, what the heck is Title IX? So she explains it to me and she's like, well, they're supposed to talk to you and work with you and figure out what you're going to do with your classes so that you can pass and so you can succeed. I was like, no one did that with me. What the heck is this? So I had to rush across not campus, because there were 3 campuses. So I had to rush across town. It's a lot of driving in one day. And I talked to an advisor and they're like, okay, I am so sorry that this happened. Let's reinstate your financial aid and your classes and everything so you can go back to school. And I'm like, thank God, it was amazing. So I did, and I went back to school and I got my classes back and it was awesome. And I was trying really hard to stay on top of them. Unfortunately though, I was a single parent. My mom and dad worked full time, so I had to work around their schedule as well as my work schedule and my school schedule. So I was not able to find a balance between sleep and work and school and who can watch Eli so I can go to school and who can do all this. And so I ended up failing those classes as well. And it was very difficult. I remember applying for OASIS, which is something that's supposed to help students on campus so that they can have prolonged deadlines, do all that for their classes. And so I got it, but since I got it too late, they couldn't apply it to my classes, and I couldn't save those classes either, and ended up failing again, which was very frustrating and very defeating for me, where all I could think was, man, I should just quit. But I remember that during that semester, there was that lady, Bethany Jansen. She talked to the Students for Life on campus, and they wanted to set up a baby shower for me, just like, you know, you had your son and you're not alone. And so they did that for me, and they had a baby shower, and it was kind of weird because it's like I wasn't used to that kind of acceptance on campus. I kind of figured, you know, I'm 19 years old. No, I was 18 at the time. I was 18 years old and I was pregnant on campus. The way that people look at me on the campus was very judgmental, and I didn't like it. It was hard, like even from the teachers, you know. I just be walking around, I could just tell the people were thinking, oh, she's young and she's pregnant, she must be promiscuous and all these things. And then the Students for Life came and they said, oh my goodness, you had your baby, that's amazing. And they were so excited, and I loved it. And it just made me feel like I'm not alone, and I'm okay, and we're going to be okay, because there are people who want me to succeed, who want me to have time with my son and be able to be with him and still be able to take care of him and provide for him. Think that I had just been aware of my right, that there are people who are excited. And so I probably would still be in school and have my degree by now if it wasn't for that and me having to go back and retake classes, which I'll be doing this spring. Now that I've gotten on my feet and I figured out childcare for my son and I've gotten life figured out and back together. So when I start school in the spring, I'm super excited knowing that I have a support group who is excited for me to be a parent and still bettering myself and my education, being able to have a life for myself and my son. I'm very excited and very blessed to know about my Title IX rights and to know about that community now. And I wish that I had known about it sooner. But that's pretty much my story. So yeah.
And you are working, is it 2 or 3 jobs right now?
I'm working 3 jobs right now. So I'm very tired all the time, on top of watching him, but I've gotten pretty good at multitasking. Being a parent teaches you that. So.
And you do want to finish your degree.
Oh yeah, my end goal, I want to get my PsyD in psychology. So it's a lot of school.
So you're going back in the spring then?
That's my plan.
Very cool. Well, we have been talking because you've been working with Students for Life for a long time now, right? It's been like almost like 2 or 3 years.
It was 2016 that I reached out to them. So yeah.
Wow. All over 3 years at this point. And we know that you've been working very hard, and we want you to be able to go back to school and get that degree. So we're going to surprise you right now. And we're going to be putting together a fundraiser because I know that there is a specific phone number. There is a specific number that you need to get back to school. Is that right? And so what is that number?
For just my associates, I think I sent you guys, I did the math. I was really, I think it was something like 6,000. Yeah, that's just my associates. So it's just.
So we will be putting together this fundraiser for you so that people can, excuse me, can help you to do that. And this is something that Students for Life wants to be able to do for all students, to have this support group on campus so that students like Ruth and Jessica can still have these opportunities, can still pursue their education with their children and move forward. in their goals and see the success of these goals, be able to achieve them. So we want to be able to help you with that, Ruth. So we will have that link available. And then moving forward, what can students do to make sure that somebody isn't in this position where they had no idea what their Title IX rights were, so that the teachers and the coaches and the academic advisors, all of the administration on campus, can be completely supportive in the way that they were for Jess, to even have that portion in your syllabus that, you know, you can bring your child to class with you if you need. But then at the same time, there are still things that Jess felt like she needed, that she wished she knew there were more rights to, and policies that students can create on campus. So you high school and college students, what are policies that you can bring to campus? You can create a policy that assures there are lactation rooms throughout campus, and more than one, and one that's specifically for students, not one that's dueling as, you know, a study room in the afternoon or a music room in the morning, because guess what? Women have to pump in the morning and in the afternoon, and they shouldn't have to run around campus to find an uncomfortable place. I'm sure you girls have had to find some uncomfortable places to pump, right? And so we don't want students to have to go through that and deal with that. We want you college students, you high school students, to be able to change policies on campus so that women feel supported, so that they don't think that they're alone on campus. No woman should feel that way. Students for Life has put together a packet. Students for Life with the Pregnant on Campus Initiative has put together a packet that will provide all of the materials that you guys need to help students and administrators know about Title IX and enforce Title IX. So you can go to the Pregnant on Campus website and find the Title IX packet, which includes a pregnant and parenting Bill of Rights. It goes through what Title IX is, why it exists, why we need to have this Bill of Rights in place, so that students are taken care of, and what you can do if these rights aren't being followed. We have a legal letter that can be given to public schools. It's a letter from attorneys stating the law and letting these administrators know you have to abide by this law. Now, that letter is specifically for public schools, but it is available, and it's a really, really amazing resource that you can take and even say, hey, I have a medical excuse. I had to be gone because of my pregnancy. You have to allow me to make up this test. It's literally in the law. So to have that, and if you know somebody who's going through a situation like this, please let us know, because we want to be able to share these resources and to be able to help you. Another thing that we have in this packet is a petition and pledge that you can get signed by your peers on campus, and also include your coaches, your teachers, your advisors to sign this petition. It says, I stand with pregnant and parenting students, and so you can see, you can sign right there, and then it gives people to share their story. If they have a story that they've gone through, or they know somebody that has a story, they can share that story through this petition. There are also letters to the editors. So you table on campus all the time, and you're trying to get these signatures, but we know that sometimes, I mean, not sometimes, we live in an earbud culture. Like, we've got our earbuds in, we're walking by, we're trying to engage, but there's always that one student that's like trying to avoid making eye contact with you, and you're like, no, I want to talk to you too. So it's kind of hard to engage with that student. when you're tabling, and there are many, many ways that you can engage them. We talk about that through our effective education pillar and other resources that we've got, but we know we don't want that student to be missed. So we want to find every single avenue on campus to be able to make sure we reach that student. All of that to say, we have letters to the editor that you can give to your school paper to let students know. Are you going through this? Is somebody telling you that you have to quit your team if you want to continue in your pregnancy, or that you have to have an abortion in order to stay on your team? That's against the law. So we want these things to be in that letter, informing students of their rights. There are 3 different letters that you can choose from to make it applicable to your campus, and they're just templates. You can switch it up and use your own wording because you're on your campus, you know what your campus needs. We also have flyers that you can hang around, and these flyers, there's 4 different styles of the flyers, and so they're asking, are your rights being violated? And it's explaining what it means for your rights to be violated. And then last, each one of your student groups should have an Instagram account. You should be using social media to your benefit. And so we have Instagram graphics that you can post on your Instagram or on your Instagram stories to keep passing the word, and there's contact information on there as well. So if somebody does see your story and they have a friend like Ruth, they can say, hey, I saw this Instagram story. They say that they're trying to help with rights. I want to pass that information on. And so that student can get connected with your regional coordinator and with your group. In the same way these girls were. So you go to the Pregnant on Campus website. It is all under Title IX, and there are pop-ups throughout there as well. So you can click and say, hey, my rights are being violated, and you can contact us and we will help you to get through the situation, because you are strong. Women are amazing, and you can achieve your goals and continue on in your pregnancy. So don't let anybody tell you otherwise. So thanks for joining in with us tonight, and thank you to Jess and Ruth for sharing your stories. We really, really appreciate it. And I know your babies are there in the other room or in the room with you. So thanks for taking the time to spend with us tonight so that other people can learn about your stories and can get the help that they need if they need it. Thank you for joining us tonight. We hope you'll put these resources to use right away. And if you are or were a student whose Title IX rights were violated, please reach out to us and share your story. Our Pregnant on Campus Bill of Rights is here for you as well. Now go out there, get active, and have a great night.